Sri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Sri Sadguru Paramatmane Namaha. Sarva Maharshibhyo Namaha. What the best of men do is followed by others. 21st sloka. Yadyadacharati shresthaha tattadevetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanuvartate. Substance. Whatsoever a great man does, that other men do. Whatever he sets up as a standard, that the world follows. Commentary. The Lord argues the issue from a practical point of view. The actions of great men occupying a spectacular position in the world are observed by common people. Naturally, they act in the same way. What the elders do, children imitate. We see this in daily life very often that to justify one's actions, one refers to the example of great men. So, as a man acquires leadership, comes to occupy a prominent position, he should be extremely careful about what he does. It is a social responsibility of that man to live up to a high standard of moral and spiritual conduct. Individually, a man may be a gnani. He may not be bound by any kind of action. But so long as he is in an embodied state, his entire life should be perfectly befitting the injunctions of the Shastras. Generally, when one comes across a realized saint, he regards him as a standard of excellence, as an example and demonstration of Shastric law in actual life. Then he has a social responsibility to show the right way to the masses by following the Shastras. What the great people and leaders do is copied by the common man. Yata Raja Tata Praja. That is the popular saying of the elders. Arjuna was a prominent figure at that time. People looked up to him with admiration. So the Lord instructs him to act, to carry out the injunctions of the Shastras, and to perform the duty prescribed by the standard in life, to fight the battle as a Kshatriya ought to do, and thus set an example of Nishkama Karma. If he fails to stand up to the law, he would confuse and corrupt the minds of the people, and they would lose both the material and spiritual realms. They would become inactive, lazy, and by self delusion, they may become hypocrites, pretending to have gnana, which they do not really possess. The principles, doctrines, and laws which the elders accept and follow form the code of conduct for the masses. So, the elders of the community should make it a rule to follow the truth, to follow the Shastras, to live nobly, to shed the light of the Spirit all around, to be the beacons and guideposts for all people in their journey through life. The Lord exhorts Arjuna to set a great example of righteous action for the people. The Lord insists on practice and not mere talk. Anyone can talk high philosophy, but very few people are able to mold their life according to the truths of spirituality. The master should live the life according to the Atma Dharma and show the world how such life should be lived. It is only then that the people could cultivate faith in God and the laws of the Shastras. The Lord is an example of Karmayoga par excellence. 22nd sloka. Name partha asti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nana vaptavyam aptavyam varta evacha karmani. Substance. There is no duty for me to do in the three worlds. There is nothing unattained or to be attained for me, and yet I am also engaged in work. Commentary. Lord Krishna is God Himself. He is in all the worlds and all the worlds are in Him. What then should He work for? What is he to gain by work? He is everything, and yet, out of compassion for humanity, he incarnates himself again and again to maintain dharma for the well being and progress of the world. He is ceaselessly working everywhere for establishing dharma. He, the infinite, formless Brahman, takes birth, comes into the world, mingles with men, teaches them, elevates them, and leads them on to the freedom and bliss. If the Lord Himself is thus engaged in work, should not the common man work for his own good? The late great Jivan Muktas like Buddha, Shankara, and long line of sages and prophets have all done tremendous work in the world. Why? Not for their own gain, because they have nothing to gain, but for the sake of humanity. So the seekers and aspirants should do honest and sincere work to purify themselves and attain the spiritual aim. They should not be inactive, because inaction is tamas. Work. Work is Lord's command. Work without attachment. Performing one's duty unmindful of the results is the law of Karmayoga. 23rd sloka. यदि ह्यहं न कर्तव्यं जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः. Substance. Because if I am not engaged in action always without relaxation, men follow my path in every way. O Arjuna. Commentary. Unworried and unrelaxed, the Lord is every moment actively engaged in the work for the protection and welfare of all beings in all the world, because if he remains inactive, all the people follow the same path and go down into anarchy and self destruction. That is why great men, ideal personalities, prophets, and leaders are constantly alert and active in the service of humanity. Even today, we come across karma yogis of great eminence. History has recorded the lives of many of the leaders and the way how they worked till last breath of their life for a righteous cause. Moreover, the word atandritaha, without relaxation, implies that the seekers and aspirants should be alert and watchful in the sadhana. If the Lord, who is externally free and perfect, is so alert and watchful in performing his duty, how much more so should the common man be in his discipline to free himself from the shackles of samsara. However intelligent one may be, if he is not vigilant, he is easily knocked out of his path by Maya. The senses are so powerful as to draw away the mind from the spiritual idea. Night and day, at all times, under all circumstances, vigilance is necessary to preserve the mind from lapsing into dullness and self pleasures. Discrimination between the real and the unreal, God's grace and ceaseless effort are all necessary for spiritual progress. How much care is needed for the driver of an express train in the night? Could he afford to be negligent? How many lives depend on his care and caution? Even so, the seeker has to be continuously vigilant and active in his practices. The human machine is sure to be damaged if he is negligent, and a breakdown is certain. Always. The Lord is always alert in the performance of his duty for the welfare of mankind. The Shastras say negligence is death. Pramado vai mrityuhu. Negligence regarding the awareness of Brahman should not be at any time. Such forgetfulness of Atma is death. So says Sanat Kumara. The seeker should therefore remember the key word alert, atandritaha, and always be wakeful in the contemplation of the self. 24th sloka. उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोका न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहं शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्यामुपहन्यामिमाः प्रजाः. Substance. These worlds would perish if I do not perform work. I would be the cause of confusion of species and the destruction of these beings. Commentary. If I do not work, these worlds would perish. People would not work. Consequently, there would be confusion in all fields of life. Peace would not be there. People would become unrighteous and sinful. As a result, natural calamities would overtake them. I would be the author and cause of destruction of beings. So, for the protection and welfare of all worlds, I work. Thus, the Lord proves the need for the discipline of Karmayoga in the world. The Lord is the cosmic intelligence who gives the law for the orderly evolution of the universe. The plan of the universe and the orderly function is due to the will of the Lord. Let us imagine what would happen to mankind on the globe if the law of the universe are relaxed for a brief while. The whole world would crash into destruction. The pride of human intelligence appears childish when one contemplates the beneficent power that keeps the planets in their orbits. So the Lord says that if He does not work, the world would perish. The same law applies to the various duties and functions of man for the orderly maintenance and progress of humanity. The violation of this law would lead to confusion of duties and functions. The Lord expects every man to keep the law by the performance of the duties in the scheme of the world. By doing so, the community as a whole would grow and prosper. Karma Yoga, besides being the path of self purification and self realization, is the divine technique to secure peace and prosperity for the mankind in this earthly life.